Funerals actually take a lot more planning than I expected. With us using island cuisine for the first time, of course we were iffy, but once they came and showed us their service, their food, we tasted their food and everything, we definitely use them again because their service and food is just awesome.
I'll ride with the horses, I'll swim through the sea, I'll climb to the mountain tops, won't you come follow me? I'll take time to notice all that I see, and after I've come so far, know where I'll be. I'll fly away, fly away, fly away, fly away home. I'll fly away, fly away, fly away, fly away home. But life is a vision, that's how it should be. Canvas, and the choices are free. At the end of the journey, where all is complete, they'll all wonder where I've gone, but you know where I'll be. I'll fly away, fly away, fly away, fly away home. Fly away, fly away, fly away, fly away home. Our dreams last forever, for all that we know. The roads come together, and that's where we'll go.
The pompous
and elite wish we go away
because we are
real and direct.
No interest owns us,
and we have no interest but the truth.
Together we are exposing
corruption.
Together we will reform criminal justice.
Together
We are fighting violence
against women and children.
We here at
Kandit
will shine the light
on every corner of darkness.
Together we are giving a voice
to the voiceless
and forgotten.
Stay lit.
Together.
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 Together. We are giving a voice to the voiceless and forgotten.
We are Kandit News Group.
in Micronesia. I'm Troy Torres.
And I'm Johnny Rosario.
And I'm Denise Pangolinin.
Welcome back home.
Hi. I missed y'all.
We missed you.
I missed you guys too.
It's been quite some time. Well, I'm glad that you're joining us tonight. We have some heavy topics. We have some a couple of heavy topics to talk about, and I can see you blowing your top about this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But I can see Johnny blowing her top about this, and it's because ugly stuff. But we're gonna get to it in just a second.
In all honesty, I'm just glad that you have provided a way out for people. So I really admire you.
Me?
Yes.
Yeah. What did I do?
Just giving people the
voice
ability
to speak up
even
about
have the
what
courage to come forward to try to
This
to
is
get
Kandit.
help.
This is Kandit. This is our audience. They're the ones giving these people the. No.
Should I keep you rubbing up against the mic, bro?
you have it on.
Oh. I didn't have my mic on. Knock this out.
He even asked me if you have the mic on. I just feel like
It's because I went to smoke earlier.
These women, that need help, they find their voice through you. Because of you, they're allowed to speak out.
Oh, is it because I'm a survivor?
Because you're a survivor.
Oh, okay.
You know what
I
I
see
mean?
what you're saying. I see what you're
And
saying.
people probably feel more comfortable talking to somebody who can actually have empathy for what they've gone through. So I think it's a big deal.
Well, thank you guys for that. Thank you. We're going to get to that story in just a little bit. But first, the first story we want to get to is more about Bic Sobti, the owner of International Royal Inc., also known as Royal Bics.
AKA Jafar. I'll say it.
So we went through. So earlier today, we told you about how, and actually even last night, we told you about how Bic lied to the Guam legislature when Senator Telos Hadegui asked him whether he is under investigation in the CNMI, and he said no. And then
No,
fast.
not to my knowledge, Pari.
no. He said no.
Yeah.
Then he said not to my knowledge. Then he said they haven't called me yet.
Yeah.
But he straight up lied to the Guam legislature, knowing full well that he was the subject of the oversight hearings of the Special Committee on the expenditures of federal funds because of a $2.8 million vendor payable to International Royal using CARES Act funding for the CNMI. So it's federal funding that was supposed to be for COVID-19 direct aid to the government, for the government to provide services to the people of the Commonwealth. International Royal is not a company that's chartered in the CNMI. So there's the first thing is, how did you get this sole source contract if you're not even a company here?
Right.
And how did anyone in the CNMI government even think to call you when where you are a company on Guam, you are a uniform clothing and tailor retail shop, having nothing to do with medical supplies. And so that's one thing. Then the next thing is, when you look at the invoice on a $2.53 million invoice that Bic sent to the CNMI government to get paid, it shows that he charged $2.99 for a blue and white mask.
Yeah,
the one 40 cents a piece.
The cheap one you can go get anywhere.
Yeah, they sell it at Costiless for $19.99 for a box of 50.
Yeah,
he's selling it for $2.99 a piece. He sold them 250,000 pieces. He got almost $750,000 for those face masks. Selling a bottle of hand sanitizer for $11.95. He sold them 20,000 of those bottles. He sold them.
But did he really?
But did he really?
Did he really?
I don't know.
No, the real question is, who's taking inventory of these items?
That's a good question.
Did he really?
I'd like to know who's
Did
getting
he deliver them?
Who's getting the kickback?
Then there's
That's
that.
what I'd like to know.
Bic's over there like, thank you, come again.
Thank you, Commonwealth.
Yeah.
So, okay. We did some research. Okay, to be honest, Jacob Nakamura did some research and found invoices and price quotes disclosed on Guam, like Guam companies apples to apples, International Royal is a
Yeah.
Guam company. Like Guam companies that were not International Royal, that actually were in the business of selling medical supplies and PPEs. Invoices and price quotes submitted to the government of Guam Department of Public Health and Social Services to show the same sort of stuff that Bic was selling to the CNMI government.
Yeah.
And can you put up the MD wholesale one, the one that has a color letterhead on it? Oh gosh, I can't see from over here.
I squinted and I have glasses on.
let me bring up the story so that I can see what I wrote in this. Hold on.
So blind.
I don't even think if our viewers can see that.
Usually Troy can.
If anybody from the DMV is watching, I can read this. I just choose not to.
I got 20/20 vision, but that TV's kind of.
This
far
is an
and
MD wholesale receipt or invoice sold to Department of Public Health and Social Services for the Senior Citizen State Agency. The sales rep is Venus Salvador, right? It has an invoice number. It has item number 1.
This is the latex gloves one.
Yes, and then
$3.20 for a box of 100 latex gloves, right?
yes, and they got 2 boxes, so they paid $6.40.
So Bic was selling latex gloves for $19.50 a box. And he sold them 2,000 boxes of that. And MD Wholesale sold it to Guam for $3.20.
I can't believe that somebody would accept that would even accept that without shopping around.
Well, the president of the Commonwealth Healthcare Corporation said that if she had seen, if something like that had come across her CFO's desk, it would not have been approved to make it even to the
red
CEO's
flag.
desk.
Red
it would not have been approved at all. So the generic masks, right? $2.99 a piece. MD Wholesale, you can put up the black and white MD Wholesale one, was selling the superior, the N95 masks, supposed to be the gold standard in protecting yourself, right? They were selling N95 masks basically for 9 cents a mask. $69.75 a case, 720 masks, comes out to about 9 cents a mask.
Yeah.
Wow.
N95 masks, right? JCME distributors, that's another receipt or invoice, I can't remember.
Hand sanitizers as well.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
You got $1.50 eight ounce fluid or 8 fluid ounces for $1.50.
And only at 24. So it wasn't even like a bulk rate. 24 hand sanitizers for $1.50 a piece. Meaning if it was like 20,000 hand sanitizers, it would have been a lot less than $1.50.
Right.
Well, Bic sells 20,000 hand sanitizers to the CNMI government for $11.95 a piece. Yeah. Wow. That's crazy stuff. What else we got here?
It's insane.
That chicken sounds...
Jeez, this chicken is off the freaking... this chicken's so good. I don't know. 76 doesn't always have this chicken though. Like it's not always there.
It's probably because they sell it as soon as they put it out.
That's wrong.
Yeah.
Because this chicken is everything.
Should make more.
So,
sure, it's like I live for this chicken.
Yeah, we got you.
A wing.
I like the breast. I like the breast part.
Or the dog end.
You want the dog end part? JCME distributors sold GovGuam surgical face masks for 16 cents a mask.
Jeez.
16 cents.
JCME?
JCME distributors.
Wow.
Boom.
Is that the one?
Okay, stay there.
Yeah. So,
Mask, heirloom, surgical.
if you look at it, 50 masks per box, 120 boxes per case, 1 case for $96. And Bic was selling his generic masks for $2.99 a piece.
Wow.
Unbelievable stuff. And this is...
Those masks were probably made by his cousins back in...
If this guy does not go to jail...
He belongs in jail.
I'll be so surprised if he doesn't go to jail soon. Like... and just to put this into perspective, cast on my screen, or put up the DLS letter of agreement. So Bic was selling face masks, box of 50 for $150, right? Mm-hmm. DLS quoted GovGuam for a coronavirus test, a medical test,
Right.
$80. It costs almost half
The price.
of the price of a box of Bic face masks to get a medical test. This is pretty bad stuff.
Bic.
I don't know. He needs to lawyer up or something because this is really bad.
Not only is this bad, but this is also price gouging at
Yep.
the time when they're not
Yep.
supposed to. And if you remember, the federal government
Yep,
at the
said
beginning
report.
of this, William Barr said he
AG
will
said,
be.
yep.
He will be going after these people who are price gouging.
It was the number one priority at this time. At
Yes.
the time that this big invoice was given to the CNMI. You know, but how did let's play this logic out. How did anyone in the CNMI government think, you know what, we need PPEs.
Right. Let's call Bic. Yeah.
And you know what? He's on Guam. And like we're in the middle of a pandemic and no one can travel. Let's it's just far better that we call Bic
Yeah.
to get all of these
'Cause there aren't
PPEs
any
that
other
need to
options
be
out there.
shipped. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's call the tailor. Oh, maybe they asked him to sew the mask.
Right.
All his clothes he has.
I don't know. God, I look at that picture and I just get so irritated, and I hate to like go back to the Jafar thing, but
You hate to? Yeah, right, girl.
Jafar, he's our man. If he can't do it,
Well, isn't it? As a Guam citizen, aren't you embarrassed?
it's disgusting. It is.
It's
I am
super
so
disgusting.
ashamed. This whole backdoor, I'm gonna help. Let's help each other out. You know, I mean, he just looks like a
Someone
criminal.
got to kick
The
back.
prices. Now you know how the majority of families on island are on assistance, public assistance. As much as uniforms cost, that let me know that they don't care about the people. They're out for profit, sole profit. They don't give one punky about anybody here. And why should he? He's not from here. He's not from here. He knows enough of the important people to get bids and stuff like
He's been
this.
screwing the people of Micronesia for 39 years.
Thank you. Come again. Telling you. That's all I can see.
Peter Roberto says if all the parents boycotted Bics from buying prom dresses and uniforms, he will feel the pain. To these people, their wallets are very precious to them. Go to Gaylord's and buy prom dresses there. Ask Gaylord if they can bring in uniforms for next year.
Yeah.
Are they still open? I thought they closed.
I thought they closed too, but
Because I think the dad died.
yeah, I haven't seen. I mean, it always looks dark and dismal every time I pass by there.
Why does one company have a sole source contract for all the schools?
That's what I'm on.
So it's not one. So what happened was Bic went to all of the parent-teacher organizations, and those PTOs were the ones that decided that it was going to be Bic. And I don't know what he said to them or whatever, or how that goes, or maybe there's kickbacks involved.
Yeah.
I don't know. But these PTOs were the ones that decided it was going to be Bic. But actually, last school year, I think it was more than just Bic. I think it was also Paul's.
I thought Paul
Tailoring.
sold some. Now, see, I was
Not
smart
everything.
and
Yeah.
bought advanced, but I had 2 daughters and going to Southern too. So my son was like, I have all these shirts, you know, so we just mainly focused on pants. And I certainly didn't buy them from Bic.
Gina Call says, does it have something to do with him sitting on the airport authorities board? Isn't there a conflict of interest with him on that board? There is a conflict of interest when Bix sells uniforms to the airport employees, which I understand he has done. Yeah, that's a significant conflict of interest, Gina. I keep burping chicken, sorry. Jacob Nakamura says, Doria Cruz, the mayor, sure did give our money to Bic. And what Jacob is talking about is those same $2.99 masks. Bic sold to the mayor's council of Guam for $2 a piece. So he ripped off the mayor's council of Guam at a 2/3 rate that he ripped off the CNMI government. And I'm sure that he'll say that the 99-cent difference is the cost of shipping and how everything was in such drastic need during those difficult times.
So he put a rush on it, so you have to pay for that rush.
He's probably going to say DHL or something. Let's see. Oh, Jacob is on it. Jacob is on it. Bic is trying to offload his money right now. He knows the feds are coming, says Jacob Nakamura. David Lebowski asks, why no AG action on Bic? Pretty good question. Pretty
Yeah.
good question. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe I think if like maybe 5 or 15 states file a class action lawsuit against Bic, the Attorney General of Guam
Might pay attention.
Or a class action lawsuit.
Oh, hey, that has to do with here. I should go ahead and join it. We have a weak AG. He's garbage. If you're listening, that's how I feel about you. You're terrible. You're a waste of space, and you're an embarrassment to every attorney that actually fights and does their job. It's disgusting. He might as well be an ambulance chaser. I mean, golly, he's just what a waste of space. I mean, my dog could fight more crime than he does.
It's very important that we get a more direct answer out of you about this.
Oh. It should be natural because I don't have anybody in my ear coaching me.
All right. So that was a disgusting story, but let's move on to the far more disgusting story. And it's the story of Airport Fire Chief Raymond Manzanilla. If what his daughter Rachel Manzanilla is saying is true, raped his daughter.
Yeah.
Rachel Manzanilla. Straight off the bat, I know as a news organization we have some obligations to say things like alleged or whatever.
Right.
But personally, I believe her.
Well, yeah, it came from, I mean, she lived it. And for her to come forward, even knowing what she's going to have to face, yeah, I believe her. I mean, I didn't feel any sense of like she was lying or being manipulative at all. You could tell she was hurt. And I mean, those are deep down wounds that she'll have to live with forever.
Did you watch her whole?
I did. I watched the whole thing.
Did you watch it, Chelu? Her whole? Okay,
Yeah.
let's let everyone watch this interview with her, and it's heartbreaking. But go ahead.
It
Chelu.
is.
Hi, Rachel. I'm Troy.
Hi.
How are
Nice to
you?
meet you? I'm okay.
Okay. Well, thank you for doing this interview, and thank you for having the courage to come forward. We talked about what happened a little bit earlier. We talked about your reasons, and they're very noble reasons. So let me first say that I'm also a survivor of sexual assault. When I was a kid, my teacher several times raped me. And so, I can never say that I understand your situation, but I like to think that I can empathize with you, and I understand so much the importance of people believing your story. Okay, so that's first of all. Second, before I ask you what happened, is there anything you wanted to say, or? Okay, all right.
I'm nervous.
You're a little nervous. I understand that. Believe me, I understand. This is you and me talking, okay? So, how old are you now?
26 years old.
You're 26, and you moved away from Guam last year, right?
Yes. January 29th.
And you moved away from your parents' home 7 years ago.
19 years old. I'm sorry.
Yeah. 7 years ago.
Yeah.
No. Okay. Now, you told me that for a number of years, your dad, what's his name?
Raymond Manzanilla.
He is he has been the fire chief at the airport. Is that correct?
He recently is the fire chief.
Recently, he's the fire chief.
Before, yes.
And he's a high-ranking and has been with the airport fire for some time?
Oh, yes.
Okay. Now, and tell me what he did to you when you were a little girl, or when you were a young girl.
Okay, so, when I was 12 years old, that was the first incident that ever happened. And so, I'm sorry.
Don't worry about it. You're good.
So basically, my father molested me. The first incident was only touching, using his finger.
Okay.
While so I woke up at night, waking up to pain because of him putting his finger in me, and I had no idea what was going on. And I went back to sleep because all I heard was it's okay. So I went back to sleep. I woke up the next morning. I guess he went to work already, and I went to the bathroom to go and pee, and I had blood on my panty and in the toilet, and I yelled for my mom, and she assumed that I had my period at that time. Since I was 12 years old, I guess that's the time that you have it. I didn't initially tell her yet until we dropped off my grandma Malolo, and that's when I first told her that Dad hurt me down here, because I guess I was feeling the pain later on again.
Okay.
How she handled it was not right at all.
What did she do? What did she say?
So she asked me again what happened, and I told her that Daddy hurt me down here. And the first thing that she does is cry, of course, and she's freaking out. But she goes to the house phone in Malolo, and she gets the phone and calls him up at his work. And she lets me speak to him because she said, Ray, she said you did this to her. And she was crying, asking him, is it true, and whatever. And she ends up passing me the phone to talk to him. And she doesn't stay there to see what he has to say. She slowly walks away because she's crying. And what he tells me, as a 12-year-old little girl, thinking that her dad says, I'm so sorry that I hurt you. I won't ever do it again. Okay. And I think it's okay. Okay. So this is my daddy. He apologized. Okay. He hurt me. And he said he's very sorry. He won't do it again. And I didn't know anything about sex. I didn't know anything about anything dealing with that. And that was the last of ever bringing it up. Ever. My mom never asked me any further questions. Never reported it. Never did anything about it. And I thought that, okay, it's okay. Wow. And that was it. So I guess maybe he got scared. So it didn't happen for months. I was okay. Nothing happened. Nothing bad. And the next year, I wake up to him in my bedroom. He was touching me, waking up, touching me, rubbing me, and doing all that disgusting stuff. And when I try to move his hand because I'm uncomfortable waking up and freaking out, he still forces himself to touch me. And it went as far as him I lost my virginity because of him.
How old were you when that happened?
14, 15, somewhere there. In the beginning it was all touching. And then he tells me that before he did that, he said he wants to show me what's gonna happen. What's gonna happen with my future boyfriends. He's just gonna show me. And he went full on penetration. He used his mouth down on me, his finger, and everything. And every time he was done, he always told me to not say anything because it will shame the family. I will get in trouble. He will get in trouble. And then he also brought up my uncle John, who was a police officer before. And he told me that I would get in trouble by him and everybody in my family.
Did you take that as a threat?
Yeah, I was scared.
About how many times did your dad rape you?
Multiple times. Penetration, I would say maybe 4 to 5 times, and everything else was just using his finger or just rubbing on me. And the reason why that because I told him that I wanted to go to jail. And I guess he got a little scared, and then he just told me that he kept telling me that I'll get in trouble. My mom, my sister, my brothers, everyone will get in trouble, and him, and just shame to the family. We always had to make sure we don't embarrass the family.
The last incident was in 2010, correct?
Yes.
And you were, when you confronted your dad and threatened him with you're going to go to the police, you were already 17 years old, and so it stopped?
That was before 17 years old.
Before
yeah,
17 years old. Okay, so fast forward several years, a few months ago, you decided that you wanted authorities to get involved and you wanted to tell your story to authorities. Can you tell us why you wanted to tell the authorities about what happened to you?
So my brother was currently living with them in that house with him and his family, and I was told that just like very negative vibes, and it was just not a happy place to be in where they were living. And I thought, it came back to me where I thought was something happening to the kids.
To your brother's kids?
Yes, my brother's kid.
Okay. So you wanted to protect your brother's family from anything happening?
Yes.
So you lived with this in silence and fear for 7 years? The past 7, well, actually more than that. It'd be like 12 years or something.
Yeah.
Okay.
Over there.
Now, by the time you reported it, you were living in Hawaii, so you decided to file a report or to get help from the Hawaii Police Department. Is that correct? Can you tell us more about that?
So I was actually getting a little information on how to pursue this from from Guam. And when I started to file a complaint here, they did an interview. They did good on building a case, and then they sent it out to Guam to GPD. And when they received it recently, 2 days ago, 3 days ago, or sometime this week, they got a hold of me just yesterday and to tell me that the case closed due to the statutes of limitations from the time of my incidents. So, nothing happened after May 2011, since that's when the statutes of limitation had changed. They couldn't do anything about it.
Now, they didn't tell you about the official misconduct statute, right? The one that... Okay. All right.
I had no idea.
Okay.
Or it would be possible. I had no idea about that.
Okay, well, we're gonna pursue that. We're gonna pursue that. And first of all, thank you for coming forward. Actually, I'm sorry. First of all, I'm sorry that all of that happened. I'm sorry. And secondly, thank you for coming forward. What do you want done about this?
I really just want justice, and I want everyone to know that this is the man he is, because he's well respected and people just don't know this monster that he could be. I'm not sure if there are any victims out there from him, and all I want is just, I want you all to know that if he did anything to you, or if you're just a victim of any sexual assault like this, don't ever hold it back. Don't hold it in like what I did, because it will catch up to you, and you just need to come out with it.
Okay.
And I really hope other victims, because this is something very horrible. because I'm his own daughter, I'm sorry. Okay. And the fact that I have my 2-year-old daughter, I didn't want him in my life anymore. I didn't want her or him, even though he had the first 4 months in Guam to come to gathering, be at her baptism. It crushed me so bad that he would just hold her and act happy, like everything was okay. Having to fake it for all these years, try and be happy at gatherings and act as a happy family, it was all BS.
Does the rest of your family, besides for your mom, know about this?
Yes, I recently opened up to them also. And this is after I sent a WhatsApp message to him, my own father, and I confronted him about it because all these flashbacks were hitting me even harder after I found out that my brother was having a little negative vibe or something, and I didn't know if it was anything further than that. So it was him that I expressed my own feelings about what he did. Then my mom, I told her and confronted her about why didn't you handle it a better way.
And what did she say?
She said she didn't know. She thought I only had my period. I don't know how you can say that when I remember all these details that happened for how I told you and for your actions from there in 2006 when I was 12 years old, and then from your actions up until today with our personal messaging. You're not a good mom. You did not do the right thing up till now. And she's still in contact with him. I don't know. It's just a disgusted kind of feeling. Like, you're okay with this. Maybe because he helps her out financially.
Okay.
My sister, on the other hand, how come my sister is acting as if she's my mother? She's playing a part my mom should do.
So your sister's being supportive of you?
Yes, very supportive.
Okay.
My sister-in-laws, my mother-in-law, and my sister-in-law, my fiance, my number one help and support. He's been with me through this whole thing, and the support, not having support by my mother, it's painful. And I haven't been in contact with her after the confrontation and how she handled it. I'm just done. There's no way to be. There's no way to just fix that the way she handled it.
I understand. Well, we're gonna get your story told. Okay?
Thank you so much.
And we're going to help you to pursue justice. We're going to ask for the airport director's comment on this matter. We're going to contact your dad and ask him for his comment on this matter. And we're going to send this to the proper authorities. We're going to ask the Guam Police Department why they are not pursuing official misconduct charges against your dad, because he is a government of Guam employee and the statute of limitations has not run out on that. Okay?
Okay, thank you so much. I wouldn't have done that without you informing me.
Stay strong, Rachel. And please call me for anything. For anything, just give me a call, okay?
Alright.
Okay,
Yeah.
you hang in there.
Thank you so much, Troy.
Okay, you're welcome. Thank you. Bye.
That's her dad. That's Raymond Manson.
That's the monster.
Yeah, he is the fire chief over at the airport. If you go to my screen now, it's a picture of her mom. That's Rhonda Mateo. That's Rachel Manzanonia's mom. All right, so let's gather ourselves together. That was pretty difficult, but you know what? Nothing could have been more difficult than Rachel telling that story. first on the misconduct statute that we were talking about. According to subsection 10.40. Okay, well, I'm sorry. Let's back this up a little bit. In May of 2011, the legislature passed a law that said that there's no more statute of limitations on criminal sexual conduct against kids. Right? The last rape that happened was in 2010. So the legislature's lifting of the statute of limitations did not apply to Rachel's case. So it's true that the Attorney General cannot pursue a CSC case against Raymond Manzanilla.
Right.
But there is this, and we've mentioned it several times, but a lot of GovGuam employees don't know this. If during the time you're a GovGuam employee, you commit any crime, no matter, let's say you're a GovGuam employee going on 20 years. If 20 years ago, when you were a new GovGuam employee, you committed a crime, no matter what the crime is, the statute of limitations on official misconduct, because you committed misconduct, you committed a crime during the time you're a GovGuam employee, doesn't actually start running until the day that you leave government service, until 3 years after. The rape allegedly happened when Raymond Manzanilla was already a GovGuam employee. He has not had a break in service. As a matter of fact, he's moved up the ranks to now he's the fire chief at the airport. And so the clock on the statute of limitations for misconduct, according to 10.40 of Chapter 10, Title 8, says, a prosecution may be commenced against a public officer or employee or any person acting in complicity with such public officer or employee for any offense based upon misconduct in office by such public officer or employee at any time while such public officer or employee continues in public office or employment or within 3 years thereafter. This clock hasn't even started to run because he still remains a GovGuam employee. So it made me question. And I called up and I messaged Sergeant Paul Tapao, the spokesman for the Guam Police Department, and I asked him, why was this case closed and not forwarded to the Attorney General's office for prosecution on the misconduct statute?
What did he say?
The misconduct statute, the one I just, why wasn't it? And so, you asked, what did he say? He said that he'll get back to me. He has to research the issue. I gave him the case number and everything. And the Guam Police Department still has not gotten back to us with a response as to what gives. Why in the world is this woman not being given at least a glimmer of justice based on the misconduct statute? This is not the first time that this has happened. This also happened to Larry Rupley. You know, and the cover up, the attempted cover up of this case during J.I. Cruz's administration as the chief of police. And then you start to put these pieces together now about, you know, what might be happening in the Guam Police Department. Well, Raymond Manzanilla's first cousin is a guy named Ken Manzanilla. He is recently retired from the Guam Police Department, very high up.
He was also running with the Mandania crew.
Yes, he was the Magues. He was in charge. He's now running for mayor of Inarajan. But Ken Manzanilla is a very powerful, very influential person within the Guam Police Department. There's one. Such an important piece of this puzzle and what makes this crime, the series of crimes, much worse than what is being led on by Miss Manzanilla is the threat that her father made to her. And that was, if you tell anyone, your Uncle John is going to be very mad. And why is that significant? At the time, John Boom Manzanilla was a Guam Police Department officer. And as a matter of public record, Boom Manzanilla is currently awaiting trial for what the media has really reported as a witness tampering case, but truly it's a drug conspiracy case. And federal documents show that it involves 3 drug dealers by the initials EA, VR, and AW. Well, you didn't do the... Okay. And she knows the names. And the other thing that appears in federal records that the federal government tried to hide in Hawaii, in the Hawaii District Court docket, is the fact that Boom Manzanilla is a party to, if not the main person involved in a massive police corruption case brewing in the district of Honolulu.
Wow.
And the only reason they moved it there, that the prosecutor from Guam moved it there, was so that it would be as hush-hush as possible. It's a massive police corruption case. This is what we might be looking at here, is police corruption keeping this woman's story from making it anywhere and getting her any justice. And it is her own father. It is her own family, her own uncles.
It's disgusting.
Who are doing this to her. It's just, it's... How many other people has this happened to?
Yeah, that's my question. I hope they all start flooding it. I mean, I don't hope that this happened to anybody else, but what I'm saying is, now that she's come forward, maybe this is just like the tip of the iceberg for the things to come. Maybe
He might have more victims.
Maybe more people will have the personal fortitude and courage to come forward now.
Jacob says her dad's brothers, Boom and William, are both going to federal prison. The irony is that William is going away for getting involved in Boom's corruption and for lying or covering up his brother's crimes. Sounds like these Manzanonia brothers are running a criminal enterprise. Jacob also says, covering up child rape, covering up jury tampering. What else are they covering up? Ironically, Boom may have pleaded guilty and is cooperating, but we can't be certain because his case is now all sealed up real tight. And that doesn't even include the Hawaii case.
Yeah. And the mother, you can't even call her a mother.
Well, you guys are mothers, so
no, I would die.
I want to hear your thoughts on
I would totally die to protect my children, my daughters especially.
Mine's lucky he ain't here.
You know?
He's lucky he's living in Hawaii.
Yeah.
That's all I have to say.
Yeah.
You can't even call yourself a mother if you're willing to turn a blind eye to something like that. Especially if your daughter comes to you when it happens and tells you that, you know, daddy did this to me.
And for the mere fact that when the daughter went to her the first time, she should, maybe she was in denial, whatever. But from that day forward, she should have protected, knowing
that was her job.
What that monster was capable of. She could have protected, if she had to stay because that's their livelihood or whatever. She could have slept with her every night so that baby does not get raped.
And felt safe. That was her job, to protect her and make her feel safe. And she failed miserably. Instead, what she did was...
Can you put her face up again, please?
She drove and called him, and then put her on the phone. She's a victim. She put him on the phone with the person who raped her. Regardless of if it's her dad, her brother, uncle, some stranger. He raped her, and she put him on the phone with her and walked away from her. I mean,
she could have, you know, as a mother, however our culture is or whatever, but from that day that she told her mom, daddy hurt me, she should have done everything in her power. And let's say she couldn't leave the house. That lady should have slept with her daughter every night so that man didn't hurt her.
Yep. Look at her. If I ever see
no
you.
excuse. No excuse.
Oh, we can't make threats on Kandit.
I'm sorry.
Allegedly.
If I ever see you, I'm going to just pray for you. How about that? Because it says in the Bible, pray for your enemies. So that's what I'm going to do.
That's a lot of filters going on there.
Yeah, I mean, geez Louise.
Well, one of the things that I picked up from one of the most emotional parts of that interview was when she broke down about that she couldn't even say that, you know, it led to penetration.
Yeah.
What she did was, when she was talking about the progression, she broke down at the part where she said, I lost my virginity to my own dad. So she valued her virginity. It's something that continues to haunt her, and you're right. She wouldn't have lost her virginity if her mom had protected her.
Did her
for the rest of her life.
She had one job.
Now for the rest of this girl's life, she's gonna wonder if she's good enough.
Yep.
Because the one person that is not supposed to fail you, that's supposed to protect you,
let her down.
Yeah.
I mean, let her down in more ways than one.
Both the parents. So first, your dad, who's supposed to be, you know.
Yeah, he's the father. How I look at a father in a home is he's the protector. He's the provider in many cases. So for you to go out and just destroy that, how is she? I mean, she's amazing to me for even being able to trust anybody to have a relationship with and have children with. So, I mean, she's...
Yeah, let's talk about that
that's
for a
amazing
second.
to me.
Because her father abused her. She immediately went to her mother, and her mother failed her.
Yeah.
Her mother basically didn't believe her.
Yep.
And one of the things that I've read about people who have been raped as children is that if they go to someone with their story, especially if it's a family member, it could be a teacher, it could be an aunt, a brother, or something. If the victim gets rejected at that first stop, the tendency, especially if it's a boy, there is a tendency for that victim to turn into a monster. But this woman, and she's held it in for years.
I have to say,
She's
her
so strong.
support system right now in Hawaii, she had to get away from here so she could feel whatever she was feeling here. She could never feel it, because she had to put on this face, right?
Kept telling her, numb it down,
right? So the moment she got to Hawaii, and everybody, her partner, her in-laws, her sister, all the support system around her, I'm grateful for that.
Me too.
You know?
She was able to get it off her chest. How awful. What an awful thing.
Kimberly Beneventi says she don't love her daughter the way she loved her husband. She protected her husband and his reputation more than the innocence of that girl. No female should go through this. Nancy Robertson says, you are not a mother if you don't protect your children from such a monstrous crime. Jacob says, Rachel, I'm so sorry. Everyone failed you, especially your parents. I'm so sorry. God bless you. May you one day find peace and justice. Kimberly says, Timamagus Duas, they will get their karma. Tiana St. Nicholas says, so heartbreaking. Jacob says her mother is just as much as a monster.
Yeah.
I agree.
I totally agree.
Denise Leaspi says she'll never trust a man again. God bless her being a strong woman. So one of the amazing parts of this story is that actually it does sound like she trusts. She doesn't say to what extent, but she says that her fiance is number one in her life.
Yep.
Which is it really is amazing. This woman's spirit is very strong.
Yep.
Very, very strong.
Everybody, let's say a little prayer for her.
I'll be praying for Miss Rachel.
For any of you that have been sexually assaulted, I've never been through that personally, but I after this, I asked Troy where this lady how was she able to know to call Troy, and I'm very honored and glad, and it feels good to know that people can trust Troy to tell their story.
I agree.
Jacob says Christina Nicholas' mother failed her too from her monster father, Dionisio Nicholas, and she got pregnant and then he killed her. Do you know the story of Christina Nicholas?
They were from Jotnia, right? Or they were no.
Chalampago. It's such a sad story.
That's awful.
This she was 12 years old, and her all her life, her short life, her dad was raping her. And I think this is 2001, I think, is when she died. 2000, 2001, or 1999. I can't remember anymore. He was actually arrested, went to court and everything, on her first complaint. This very young girl. Her mother didn't do anything, didn't believe her, or knew what was happening and didn't do anything. And the judge actually released him back to the same home that Christina was in. The poor family. She's a poor girl. I'm told by teachers that she had that that she would act out. She's kind of
rough.
Kind of, yeah. She
Looking
had
for
a
an
rough
outlet.
life, and it showed. She had a rough life, and it showed. Only her, she felt most safe with her grandmother, but then her grandmother died, and the system just failed her at every possible step. So the judge releases the dad back to the house. There's no protective order, nothing. And when she was 12, the dad took her and the cousin to, what is the name of that river? The Lonfit River. The Lonfit River, and she drowned. And the cousin in court told the story about how she saw the dad
her down.
holding Christina down under the water of the river.
So he murdered her.
He murdered her, and he got away with it. He wasn't convicted of murder. The
My
prosecutor
God.
failed. And before that, when Christina was found, the police come, the fire department comes
They do their
to the river.
investigation.
They do their investigation separately, and they give Dionisio San Nicolas a pass. They believe that
She drowned.
Christina just drowned and was an accidental drowning. And no one thought in law enforcement to compare the notes between the report that Dionisio San Nicolas gave the fire department and the report that he gave to the police department, except a journalist named Bernadette Stern at the time.
She found the discrepancy.
She looked at the two reports and found the discrepancy and said, this guy's lying. And it was because she wrote a story that there was all this public pressure that came about to, hey, what is this about? This guy might have murdered his daughter. And he flees to Rota. He flees Guam as all of this is happening. And no one's looking for him. And Bernadette and the PDN at the time, they know that no one's looking for Dionisio San Nicolas because he was just in Rota. And several tips had come in about how he was in Rota. So how does Guam Police Department or the Attorney General's office at the time have the excuse that that they can't find him? He's in freaking Rota. And so what happens is I'm sorry, it's not PDN, it's KOAM. KOAM and puts Bernadette on a plane to go to Rota with her camera guy.
Right.
And they walk straight up to the house that Dionisio San Nicolas was in. She knocks on the door. He answers the door, and she says, "Did you kill your daughter, Christina San Nicolas?" And he says, "Yes."
Oh my God.
And it's on camera. And as Bernadette and the camera guy were on their way back to Guam, they get a phone call that the police department is going to be waiting at the airport to confiscate her footage. And so she has to maneuver her way and gets to the KOAM studio. At KOAM, the police department is trying to take the footage away. The news director says, you're going to have to get a warrant for that.
Yeah.
They run the story. They run it. And Dionisio San Nicolas admits
On
tape
killing his
that
daughter.
he killed his daughter. And the AG's office still couldn't get a conviction. That girl died. She died, and even in her death, the system failed her. Received no justice whatsoever. I don't know Christina San Nicolas. I never met her in my life, but I always felt a special. The reason I get emotional about it is because I've always felt a special connection to this girl, and by God damn it, someone needs to.
Yeah. She suffered her whole life just to experience constant letdown. Me and my sister had a friend when we were growing up, Brenda Cox. Remember Brenda, Ashley? I remember she was 7 years old, and her next door neighbor, that we all used to hang out in our neighborhood. And I remember my mom waking me up. The sun was just coming up, and she was sitting on the end of my bed crying, sobbing. Well, they had just found Brenda's body. She was 7 years old. The 17-year-old neighbor boy kidnapped her, took her from her house, raped her, sodomized her, destroyed her body, tortured her body. And we grew up with that. So anything like that, it's very, I feel that.
That's almost exactly the story of Deanna Ollie, 3 years old. 3 years old.
Awful.
And so Bo Bruneman is the guy who, all of the evidence said he was the guy who raped her. He gets off in court. He gets off.
Body in the dumpster.
My
The
God.
dad finds the 3-year-old girl's body in the dumpster the next day. Yeah. So Jacob says about Christina's case, every time the courts told the mother to keep her daughter away from the husband, the mother let her daughter be taken back into the bedroom by the father, and he made the daughter sleep with him, and he raped her every night. Marge CJ says her mother should go to prison as well. Her parents are both sick. I wonder where Dionisio Sinicolis and his wife are these days, because he didn't go to prison for that crime. He didn't go to prison for murdering her.
Well, I know where he's going to go when he dies.
Kimberly Beneventi says, I know her from high school. I never knew she was going through this. I think she's talking about Rachel. I don't personally know her true self, but I pray for her and her healing process. Jesus loves you, Rachel. You are beautiful and amazing. Marilyn Gumabon says, that is sick for parents and family to not believe their own child. I'm praying for her. Jacob says, Dionisio was arrested for raping her and had stay-away orders, but the mother didn't protect her. The courts failed her too. He kept raping her and she got pregnant and he killed her. The mother fails her still all these years. They don't even visit her grave or keep it up. When mothers fail to protect their children, then they can get seriously hurt and can even get killed. Nobody cared about Christina, says Jacob. Kimberly Beneventi says, how can people live with themselves knowing they raped or killed someone and get away with it? Lord, help our people and punish those who are doing such monstrous crimes. Rosalind and Michael Cruz say, boom, William and Raymond Manzanonia, you have brought Shane and Emba to your family name. Doria Cruz says, so Dionisio never was brought to justice? No, he was not. Jacob says they had a sloppy prosecution and a lot of the key evidence got thrown out, so he only got convicted of child abuse, not her murder. Kimberly Beneventi says, this is what makes me want to study for the justice system because our system is a complete failure. We need more people to fight for those who can't fight without help. Michael Rages asked, who was the AG at the time? I believe the AG was John Tarantino, and the chief prosecutor was Stephen Maxwell. Jacob says, every single adult in Christina's life failed her, just like they do it to Rachel. Frank Cruz says, Rachel, I'm very sorry, and my thoughts and prayers to you for all that you have gone through. Richard Leon says, GPD is the party connections and familiar name politics handbookers serve and protect is a Guam joke. Jacob corrects me, Deanna Ollie was 4 years old when she was murdered. Tanya Mendiola says, our children are so precious. God help our children, please.
So I just want to say, if you are a victim of Raymond Manzanonia, please contact the authorities, or you can contact Troy at 456-4237. Or if you were abused by anybody else.
Jacob says Christina's grave is in Nimitz Hill. This should be a reminder for all of us of what happens when we fail our children.
Yeah.
Well, for Candid News, I'm Troy Torres.
And I'm Johnny Rosario.
I'm Denise Pangolinan.
Good night.